Yeah. All right, I'd like to open the Technology Committee meeting and turn it over to Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Weber. Good evening, everybody. I only have a few quick items on the agenda tonight. Just wanted to touch on some of the technology employee training that we did recently here at the district. First, wanted to let you know that we've been doing some fiber over the last year and a half. So we had the opportunity to, there was a couple fiber splicing workshops that came up that they were running for free through Amazon Web Services. There was a few other, I believe, companies involved with this. They were offering a few of these fiber splicing workshops. So we sent Kyle Kramer to a 2-day workshop over at Northampton Community College in November. In Kyle's own words, he said that this was the best training he's actually ever attended. He said it was very detail-oriented, and he really got a lot out of it for those 2 days. In addition to that, Stephen Hawes also attended. It was actually still run by Amazon Web Services. He attended a half-day workshop that was held over here at Lehigh Carbon Community College, and that one was a little less detailed, but it covered a lot about fiber splicing. So we sent both those employees to those, and they had good things to say about them. And then a few weeks ago, we sent Stephen Hawes and Kyle Kramer out to Lancaster, Lebanon IU 13. They do a lot of technology informational sessions out there. So they had something called a UPS showcase, which is an uninterruptible power supply. That's equipment that we use on our servers or switches for voltage conditioning and battery backup. So Steve and Kyle both went out there to Lancaster, Lebanon IU 13, and they had presentations from companies like Eaton, Veritiv, which is one of the power supplies we use here. Also APC, who's one of the popular ones. We have their products here as well. So they went there and they saw presentations like how to calculate power drops, things like that, like how long the equipment would run. They learned about the different types. There's different types of UPSs. They learned about the different types of UPSs and kind of like how it actually works, the internal workings of the UPS. So that was a very good training too. That was a 1-day training, so they attended that. That's really all I have to share. Does anybody have any questions about that? Nope, that's really all I have on the agenda for tonight. Thank you.
No more questions? I'd like to close the meeting and turn it over to, is Natalie here?
She's not, she will not be able to
So Donna?
attend this evening. So
Mrs. Cole?
Hi, I'm assuming, are you up or is
No.
someone here?
Here in, yep, Stop Finder.
Stop
So
Finder.
It's Chris.
Okay, Chris, I'm sorry. I wasn't quite sure where I'm.
That's fine. Thank you, Mrs. Colt. First, I'd like to read a little bit of a statement that I had written. The administration team would like to express our sincere gratitude for the outstanding work of the maintenance and custodial departments over the past few weeks. We have experienced significant snowfall, and your dedication to clearing sidewalks and parking lots has been truly commendable. Many of you have worked long hours, including nights, in challenging conditions. Your commitment to our students, staff, and the community is greatly appreciated. We had guys putting in a lot of hours.
Oh, yeah, I
and
saw them.
I'd like to, make sure that they're recognized for doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So I'd like to start off with Stop Finder. So at the beginning of the year, actually the end of last year, Mr. Wanamaker found an app that we could use through one of our software companies that goes on a cell phone, and it notifies a parent when the bus is approaching their stop. We kind of wanted to do a trial run to kind of get some data on it before we continued with that software. So some of the data that we found out from this was amazing. This year so far, 9 students have been returned to Peters Elementary because a parent wasn't at a stop. This time last year, we were at 76 students. 76 students were returned because a stop was missed.
Does it do it both ways?
Yes, pick up and drop off. Yep. So that's 67 fewer students than this time last year on an average cost of $34 per student to return them. Now, you can't really give a definite amount because Peter's kid could be up here and now you're driving from Slatington out to Peters and then returning to, to the terminal, or they could be out in Washington Township, which is a lot shorter. So we kind of want to, on average, it's about $34 per student to be returned. So that, so far this year, that's a savings of $2,278.
Paid for
I opened
software.
with that because, yep. Stop Finder, right now, all we have it for is Peters Elementary. So we can include the students of Slatington Elementary for $400 to remaining this year, or it would go up to $1,750 next year. Okay? Or we can include the entire district. For this year, it would be $600 to finish out the year. For next year, it would be $2,112 for every bus that we have in the district.
Is it necessary for middle school, high school?
The thing is, with the middle school and high school, then our life skills vans would also be included for the middle school and the high school. Right now, they're not included. So we feel that that's a big benefit for those parents, being they're in a van. Sometimes they don't always have a driveway to park in, or that way these parents know exactly when the bus is coming. Plus, on top of it, the parents can give that app to their children. So now the high schooler knows when the bus is showing up. We're hoping that it's going to kind of cut down on late arrivals, or parents having to drive their kids in, or something along that line. With the savings we made for the kids, just the kids not returning to Peters, we've already paid for it. And we're only halfway through the year.
So $2,100 for the,
$2,112 will get us the entire, every bus we have and van we have. And that would be for an entire year. Yep, this year we would have to, it would be $600 to finish out the year with every bus we have. Is there any questions?
Another positive on it is, right now we send out transportation information in August. This past year was the first year we emailed it. We did not mail out information, it was emailed out. The one thing that this app does is it allows parents to set it up, say they're Spanish speaking, they can set it up, the app in Spanish, so any information that comes for busing will come to their phone, will automatically be in Spanish. So right now, I don't have the ability to do that in any way to kind of convey that. So all of their information will come right through the app to them.
Would it work for like the sports that come back, like, you know, for the sports teams?
No, I don't think it's set up for the sports. That would be something added on top of it.
Okay,
that we
when you
would
said
have
off
to-
every bus, I just didn't know how.
Right, so
that-
for drop off and normal
Okay.
transportation. Yep. There's also, again, for those who don't know, Mr. Wanamaker's our transportation coordinator. Correct me if I'm wrong, there's also, he can do texting on that app. So if a bus is running late, he can actually text the parents of just those kids that are remaining on the bus, saying, your bus is running a little late, make sure you're paying attention to that geofence, that waiting for the bus to arrive. It helps if they're changing buses at the last minute. He can do that through that text message. Instead of having to go through and type something up and send an email or something along that lines, they could be at the stop and now they know that the bus is running a little late.
The fact that it translates, does that help us with ADA compliance? Is it ADA? Yeah.
Translation's not protected
Oh,
under
yeah.
ADA because it's not a disability to speak a different language.
Okay.
Um,
That's probably not what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but it's a service to our non-English speaking families.
Yeah, I know for our websites, didn't we have to do something?
I'm not
Translations?
100% certain, I'll look to Mr. Hill, do we have to do multiple languages
We don't
now,
have
or is
to do
that
multiple-
coming?
We do not have to do multiple languages, but we do have that on our website as well, where it can translate into other languages. But you are correct, as far as ADA, we have to have ADA compliance on our website.
Okay.
So you might be confusing the two a little bit, but.
Probably, yeah, I'm sure.
And another thing is for early dismissals, any kind of emergency situation where students are going to be sent home early, It's hard sometimes when it's early dismissal, well, it's 2 hours earlier. Well, sometimes it's not quite an exact science when you taking them home a different method. So this way, no matter how we're sending them home, parents are gonna know where their children are.
So there's no limit to the amount of texting or emails you can do?
No.
What happens to those that are walkers or they drive themselves? Is there, if you're using as an example as an early dismissal, right? How do those parents get notified?
If it is only for bus students, I mean, if they're walkers or
So
they
that
drive
we would
themselves.
still use our final site system, which is a system that I announced, the virtual instruction delays, 2-hour delays, which all families are part of. So most recently, we were able to, this was nice because we had some redundancy when we had to unexpectedly not open the middle school in Peters a couple of weeks ago. Sean was able to work, Mr. Wanamaker was able to work through his app. I was for the Peters children that day out at Peters, and I was able to do, or actually Mr. Schneiderite was able to do what we call the final site mass notification system. So kind of two different purposes, but it's nice to have some redundancy built in as well because we want to make sure that we get the word out as quickly as possible when these events occur. This one, the root purpose of this one is so parents can see when their son or daughter's bus is coming in the morning or at the end of the school day. But it also has these other features that are just part of it.
Less for the middle school and high school, because chances are they have cell phones and parents are tracking them anyway. So the need for it, I don't foresee quite as immediate and necessary if we're still going to use the other system. So I would be curious, is there a difference in if you choose just to do the vans versus the vans and buses together for the high school and middle school?
No.
If we let out, once you pay for a bus, you pay for the bus, whether it goes through Peters, Slayton, and the high school, middle school. Same with the van. So essentially, you would be leaving 2 buses out if you did the vans at the high school.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Okay.
So it's
by bus,
vehicle,
it's not
by
by,
vehicle.
Right.
Got it.
So bus 1 does a Slatington and a Peters run,
okay.
but it doesn't do a high school run. So if we do all of the buses for Slatington and Peters, and we do all the vans for high school, middle school, we would only be leaving 2 buses without this.
Got it. Thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions? So tonight, I'm asking the board if I could go for the full entire district at the 600 for this year, which would come out of transportation budget. And then looking to do the full district next year for the $2,112. The reason we're bringing this up now is because we would actually like to roll it out this year and work out the bugs before the start of next year. So with that, do I get approval to put it on Monday's agenda?
Quick question. I mean, this is the cost for next year, like, what would the increase, is there like, do you know, like, would it go up 1% every year, like, you
We
just don't know?
it- Yeah,
Okay.
we don't know at this point. This is the price that
For
we
next
have.
year?
Yeah,
You
for
just
next
don't know,
year.
the year after that, it could be 2,500, it could be 3,000. So that's something we can then bring it back to the board and say, hey.
Absolutely, we can do it yearly,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, I have other contracts that we do yearly that we'll be talking about a little bit later.
Does anybody have any objections? No? Okay. You got your answer, you put it on?
So just for clarity, is that for the remainder of this year at $600 in addition to what we've already paid, and then all 4 schools starting next year?
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Next on the agenda is the First Alt. Again, Mr. Wanamaker, stop me if I'm wrong. First Alt is another alternate transportation company that we can call on if we need someone to transport anything. A homeless student is I guess pretty much the biggest thing we would use them for. We can call them on a day's notice. We only pay per trip. But we have to have a contract with them in order to use them. Mr. Wanamaker is really good at trying to find alternate ways to pick up students at the least amount of money to the district. And First Alt was one that had popped up. So with that, is there any other questions? Again, it's just an alternate transportation company that we can use outside of Christ Transportation.
Is it based on miles or hours? Like, what's the, how do you pay? Is it per trip?
So I believe it's 8 miles.
You get the first 8 miles are free.
For free.
After that, you pay, I think it's $2.65 a mile. And where this comes to what Mr. Mann said, it comes in handy when we can't attach a student to one of our existing runs. To do a whole other run for a student maybe that's experiencing homelessness or anything costs us $40,000 a year if we were to run that band the whole year. So with this, it cuts it more than half if we can use them. They don't have big vans or buses. They have what you would call like mid-sized cars. And that's what they use to transport. It's the driver, it's the student. It's almost like Uber, quite honestly.
How do the students know that that's the vehicle coming for them?
Oh, they're notified. They're told what the cars look like. All of their drivers get out of the car. They have all identification, everything. Actually, the district used to use First Alt many, many years ago. We had a contract with First Alt. So this is only for that purpose. Runs that we just can't accommodate with Christ. These are specialty runs. I don't know how many or the frequency that it'll be. Hopefully none, quite honestly. You know, that's ultimately our goal. But they're willing to work with us on it.
So for Christ Transportation, we, correct me if I'm wrong, approve their drivers that they use. On a company like this, are we approving those drivers before they can drive? And do they have all the appropriate required
Clearances.
school clearances?
So according to what I read for First Alt, yes, they are. Their clearances are through First Alt. So they're cleared as drivers to transport students.
So do we approve that as a board to verify like Christ, or is that
So
something different?
We can and we should, like we do for Christ. There may be instances like we currently do for Christ where it's approved retroactively, but nobody would be able to drive without proof of clearances. But sometimes we may have 3 weeks until the next school board meeting, and
Yep.
we only have 2 or 3 days to get the run up and running. So yes, we can do that.
Uber method scared me a little bit for students.
Well, it's just there's just an
Just
example of how it goes.
So how much notice do you have to give them?
And then to get the run together. If I was to call at 10 o'clock, I have every bit of confidence we would be picking up the student the next morning.
How often are we using it now? Or how often do we have this alternate this year so far? How many
We haven't,
times?
because we're entering into a contract with them now. As of right now, we do not have this ability, and that's what we're asking for.
So we do throughout the year get these unique runs. Oftentimes it is a student that may be experiencing homelessness and they are doubled up in a district other than Northern Lehigh. The law says that they're still allowed to attend Northern Lehigh, and it's the responsibility of the 2 districts to share transportation arrangements and cost. I think last year we had a total of maybe 15 homeless families throughout the year, maybe a little bit higher. One year we were up as high of over 30. Sometimes we have children that are, for various reasons, enrolled in out-of-district placements. So they're still residing in our district, they're just not attending our schools. And if we don't already have a van running there, to add a van could be quite expensive when we have this kind of a third-party contractor that we could do it with. So it does come up, it's not uncommon. I can't think of a year that we haven't had to do at least a handful of them.
And again, this is just an alternate that we would have in our back pocket if need be, but in order to use them, we have to have a contract with them.
Christ Transportation would still be our first option. This is more or less if we just can't get it together with one of our existing runs, we have another way of going.
And according to the contract, they have a satisfactory driving record, criminal history records, and then they get a drug and alcohol test.
This doesn't impinge on our Christ contract, like we're allowed to do this?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
So they don't have child abuse or any of those clearances?
They will.
They will, they'll have all those. Any board members have an objection? No?
So with that approval for Monday, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the stadium parking lot lights. So the last time we had talked about it, we had a proposal significantly more than what GR came back for. So right now, we have a local, actually, electrician, GR Electric, gave us a proposal for $7,625. Looking to the board, this won't be finished this year, but I'd like the board to give me an okay to get it first thing in July, so that I can let GR know that we will be going through with the stadium lights and they will be the contractor of our choice, so that he can be lined up and ready to go.
And they'll be locked in at this price.
That I'm working on. I'm working on it. But it will be very close to this price. It won't be anything close to the first proposal that we had. But yeah, I'm working on trying to, that's why I'm kind of hoping the board gives me approval, because then I can go back to them and say, you're approved at this price. Come, the first week in July, new budget time, I can get you in.
What does it mean by wattage adjustable, and then it has 4 different options?
So that's, is it what? Yeah. So it depends on your lumens. The higher wattage, you get more lumens. So the RAB lights, the RAB lights that they're installing, it makes it a little bit easier. So like our driveway lights maybe are only 20 feet off the ground. So you don't need them at the high full wattage, or else they're super bright. So you can use these lights at multiple heights. So instead of having to buy 4 different fixtures, you can buy one fixture and
Do they
make
set it
to that.
per the?
It'll be
the wattage
preset
per the
before
height?
they come
Okay.
down, yep,
Okay.
yep. Any other questions?
Are these for the parking lot?
That is correct. The
These
9
ones
stadium,
We couldn't change the light bulbs in them, correct?
Correct.
The ones that are out there now?
Yep.
These ones we can? Or are we gonna have to go through this again in 5 years when these die?
well, the LEDs, yeah.
And they have
So
the
they're
same-
changing the whole unit? Is
Correct,
that-
they're
is that what-
LED, you can't
Yep.
just change, it's not like a light bulb, you
Right,
can't just
they're
change a
changing
light
the
bulb.
whole-
Yep, the whole fix, yep.
So it's gonna be that type of light until the next better and greater thing comes along possibly?
Correct, yeah. I think LEDs will be around for a while. Hopefully these last a lot longer than the ones that we had installed. I won't know what was installed until they get them off the pole. Rab makes a really good fixture. They're not like super cheap, but they're like middle. There are fixtures out there that are more expensive. Lutron, Leviton makes very expensive fixtures. Some of their stuff, it goes along with warranty, but not everything. Most LED fixtures are only warranted for about a year. And that's just because of the electronics being made today just aren't made to last.
So if we had to have something, goes out in 2 years, we'd have to contract with someone to go and replace.
To do it again.
Do they have any warranty with this?
A year. Yep, manufacturer warranty on the fixtures themselves.
Sherry, is there a grant if you change to LED for some of these things that, like, an energy save, like through PPL or anything that's available, do you know?
There's energy savings.
Yeah, because we're doing one at
grants.
work, and there's currently an energy savings if you go to LED to these things. Could this include this type of?
No, because we're going from LED back to LED. We did that,
Oh, okay.
We did the ESCO
Got
project
it.
in
Project.
20,
Thank
so
you.
all those
Yeah.
lights were, the current lights were installed or
Thank you.
upgraded, I think, in early 2019.
yeah. But you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
PPL did have energy savings for
So
a
they really only
while there.
lasted 6 years.
Yep,
Wow.
yeah, but unfortunately, it's LED, 2 LED, and we
Yeah.
don't.
Did they
We
give you an
don't.
idea of how long they think it would last? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they put it in other places,
LEDs, some of them are, 500,000 hours for an LED fixture, down to, I think it's like 50,000 hours. So it all depends on the electronics that are in it Again, an LED isn't a filament like an incandescent lamp. It's electronics.
So when we budget out long-term, this is something that should be put in regularly to be looked at. I mean, if it's a 5 to 7 year kind
Yeah.
of thing.
So, yeah, I don't know that we would necessarily put that in like a 10-year plan, the kind of the light replacement. But what we could do is, as we, kind of lead up to maybe like every third year, maybe just put a little
Start
bit,
looking,
just kind of start
yeah.
ramping it up until we get to the year that we need to replace them. That money has already been part of that budget.
Yep.
But we don't typically put, bulbs or fixtures in like a master plan.
Right,
Yeah.
but knowing that this is going to be time framed out, that'd be something to say, okay, we move this much money into general fund or,
Yeah.
to make sure that we have it available come.
And the big thing is you don't know. The fixtures down Bulldog Lane and in front of the high school, those were all replaced the same time as the stadium lights. Those are perfectly fine. It just could have been the batch that was at the stadium, just didn't last as long.
But we do know that things are going to break down, so
Sure.
we should prepare for that, just like I do in my house.
Sure.
Anybody more thoughts or concerns?
This is a much better proposal. Thank you for doing a double check on
So,
it.
are you looking for motion for Monday night to go back to the contractor to say, please have a conversation, so we'll put it on as a placeholder, but please have a conversation with the contractor about locking it in
Yep.
until July 1st.
Yep.
And if it all of a sudden jumps up $5,000, I don't know that we're gonna put it on the agenda, we'll
Sure.
bring it back to committee.
Sure. Yep.
Thanks, Matt, I like that idea.
Yeah, sure.
I like that idea.
Next on the agenda is the Slatington Elementary water softener. We had the water softener installed at the middle school, which has helped a lot at the middle school, I could say. With that, we were looking also at installing one at Slatington and the high school to help with the pH level. The pH is what kind of eats away at the pipe. It deteriorates copper and cast iron and stuff like that. So the next proposal that we had was to install it at Slatington Elementary. If you read the update on Friday, I kind of put something in there on it. It was substantially more than the middle school, but I listed the reasons. Slatington uses over 112,000 gallons more than the middle school, I believe it was. It's a 4-inch main instead of a 2-inch main. So with the water usage, it's a bigger system. So the system at the middle school was roughly about $20,000. I believe this one's almost $70,000. So it's the same system, but much, much larger.
So, I can't remember, did this go out for bid?
No.
Why?
So,
And you're gonna say CoStar, but this isn't an emergency, this isn't something that,
correct.
so.
So yeah, if the board would like, we can go out for bid.
Do we need it here? Do we need it?
So it's not emergent, right? It's not an emergency, but it is preventative to maximize the life of the plumbing system at Slatington Elementary School.
I think it should go up for $60,000 is not something that I think we can just keep saying yes to
Right.
without getting others to take a look at it. There's local contractors around that,
2 big water companies here.
yeah, I mean, that's significantly different than, I
yeah.
understand what you're saying. I really do.
Yeah.
It's a different system, different everything. I get it. But that's a significant cost that I'm,
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
this is the second bid. The first one, I believe, was from Long Water, and we reached back out to them and said, you need to rebid this, because they initially bid all of them at the same price.
Correct.
So when we saw this, we were like, something's not right here. So we have 2, but we're inviting Long back.
Mhm.
We can go out, we can post it, or we can reach out. What I would recommend we do is reach out to probably 2 or 3 more contractors that are co-stars. All right, because then that way we don't have to let a bid hang out there for X number of weeks and so on. But we can collect multiple bids from co-stars and then bring them back for comparison.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on my agenda is Dr. Lincoln. So if you look around the district, you can see the directional signs that we use to kind of help people throughout the district. They're deteriorating, they're fading, they're chalking. Don't get up against them, you'll turn white. So to kind of keep in line with trying to get the district up and more modernized and look a little better, I went out and asked a couple of sign manufacturers to give me some pricing on signs. And this was one of them that we kind of came up with me talking to a sign company. I would like first to ask the board their idea of this style sign first. I like this kind of sign. One, it's higher off the ground. Right now, there's a lot of snow drifts in front of signs. You can't even see the directional sign. 2, being on the pedestal legs, they're going to be actual 4-inch steel legs. A lawnmower hits it or weed whack around it, it's not going to damage that. It's the Bulldog blue with our emblem with reflective lettering. So at nighttime, you're actually going to see it where the signs we have now, they're not reflective. You can still see them, but the reflective lettering, I think, kind of stands out more. The one at Center Street and Bulldog will be 2 direction. So coming down Bulldog or down Center Street, you'll see it one way. Coming up Center Street, you'll see it on both sides. The one at the stadium was only one-sided, and the one out here at Slatington will be one-sided.
Does it cost more for 2-sided?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that reflected in the options?
All the prices we have in there right now are for 2-sided.
Okay.
So right now, the direction I'd like is if the board likes these, or if you would like a different style, because the style itself will contribute to what the prices are. So if I can say, okay, this is the style we want, we can actually go to multiple sign companies and say, this is what we want, give me a price. I actually have Rameli Signs from Slatington, is another company that I reached out to and gave them what that sign looks like. Give me a price on what this is. So they're trying to match the same exact idea with the 4-inch steel pipe or legs and the whole 9 yards. So they're working on a price for me, as well as Bartush signs, the people that did our LED signs. So that's another contractor that I have looking at giving us pricing.
So is this just informational?
At this
Not
point,
looking
we're
for-
just, at this point, it's just more or less direction. If the board agrees with that style, or if there's another style that you would want to look at. And 2, if you want us to continue looking into the signs, or if you just want to stay status quo. With the pricing that we got from Casey, we're looking at, I think, maybe about 11 grand.
For all of them.
For all of them?
Yeah. I will say I've had community members talk to me about the state of our current signs being dented, banged up, bent over, and fading. So I do think something should be done, but this is certainly, again, not a must do right now. Tonight we're seeking more of, do you like this style, as opposed to what I call the box signs that we have now.
Okay, I'll speak first. I do like the style. I agree. I was just talking to somebody about the other day. I think those are the original signs from 1982. So I was like, yeah, they really need to be replaced. I do like they're up off the ground. One thing, when you do come back to us, I'm not agreeing with the seal. Really would like the symbol up top either to just be, maybe just say Northern Lehigh, maybe with just like a Mac Bulldog like we have over at the high school, or I'm just not agreeing with that seal, it looks too busy. So something more simpler if you do come back. I like that seal more for, like we had discussed months ago, it's administrative paper or legal documents, but just something more, maybe just a Northern Lehigh, just something more simpler.
I mean,
But I do like the whole thing, everything going on.
Like the football
Just-
field.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did kind of talk about something like that on
Yeah,
the
just
phone,
something.
having the arch saying Northern Lehigh
And
School
then maybe
District.
just a plain bulldog,
So
doesn't
that's-
even have the,
Even if that's too much, Northern Lehigh School District, I mean, I would be comfortable even with just NLSD.
Sure.
And-
just a
Bigger,
plain
larger.
bulldog or something.
I
Isn't
like
that-
option one. I like the design on that and that it's higher off the ground. It's
Yeah,
just,
well, this one here this is for these two specific signs that, like out here, like by the back parking lot here for shipping and receiving. So it's kind of like, we almost kind of need both options depending on what's going on it and which location.
But so you like the arch?
I like the arch.
Yep.
Okay.
If we
Yeah,
pick
that
one
does look
style, we
classy.
should do it for all time.
It does look.
Correct,
That looks
absolutely.
That's the word,
Looks
class.
classier, even though we take the symbol away, it still will make it look classier.
Yeah.
And the whole construction is metal?
Correct.
Okay, so they'll last.
It's actually powder coated.
Okay.
Okay, so
Which
it's
even-
not gonna rust.
Correct. We'll have many years. I don't have an exact warranty on the paint, you know
They
what I mean?
spent a lot of money at
But yeah.
Tri-C with the new signs when they redid it. They're almost all faded and gone.
Well, and that's why we went with the powder coated steel, which is a little more expensive than just regular spray coating, but the powder coating works more like an epoxy, I guess. And then the reflective lettering.
I like that.
So that
At night.
it doesn't fade and it'll stand out. So again, that kind of contributes to the cost, but, you know, we want to look at other contractors to give us the same exact things, but hopefully at a different cost.
Even though it's a school, there's still a lot of activities at night where people have to see the signs.
Does that give you direction?
So what I'm hearing is the committee would like administration to explore the option one style
Yes.
and from additional vendors.
Yes.
Okay.
But something besides the
Something's, yeah.
besides the
Yeah,
seal.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
With the option that you used for the football field, the NL with the bulldog.
Sure, yeah, and again, I can call them up and send them a bunch of different
Ideas.
ideas. But at least we know we like the style with the arch, you know, with the arc, that way I can kind of say, we want this, and we will change the top. Northern Lehigh School District, we'll see what kind of, how big the font would be to have it all, or NLSD, or, you know, something along those lines.
I mean, I was even thinking like the bulldog that's on the high school. It's just a very simple bulldog, you know, standing there, and it looks like the Mac bulldog. That's very simple. It would just stand out that it's all pure white.
Sure. And again, now that I kind of have direction, I can go back to them and get a lot more options.
Yep, okay.
Next, I'm looking to Dr. Bobby.
This item is not on your printed agenda because we ran the batch of agendas before we actually got the most recent quote, which is up here. So we'll turn over to Dr. Bali to discuss, again, some additional upgrades to the look of the front of the high school.
Speaking of, that was a great
Nice.
segue, Mrs. Williams. Thank you, good evening, everyone.
Right there, right there, right that bulldog. Take that bulldog and put it on the side. There you go.
So
I think
just-
you need a bigger socket.
Yeah. For sure. No, so at the high school, you know, and we've talked a lot about this, you know, we've been committed, especially this year. You know, we really started last year, just focusing on morale, fostering a strong sense of school pride, especially, I mean, among all of us, you know, students, staff, community, and our kids have just really latched on to this kind of stuff, and you know, we've done a lot of student forums, and we've done a lot of surveys with kids, just what do you need, what do you love, you know, as far as, and we'll talk a little bit later about our pathways and our course offerings and things like that. So we're trying to go, you know, the spectrum with our kids. So right now we're talking about the physical building. You know, we started with Lunch and Learn. And that has been a tremendous addition to our building. You know, and along with Lunch and Learn came our furniture that we have, you know, just to build that kind of, you know, just sense of camaraderie in the building. And when you come in and see it, you know, they sit and they talk to each other, they talk next to each other, they sit on the floor together, you know, just, it didn't exist, you know, until, you know, the last couple of years. So we recently started a school store. Our kids have loved that, you know, student swag and things like that. You know, and we pull that out several times a week. And now we're looking at the physical building. And we've really tried to be fiscally responsible in our building budget and plan for this. So we've been working with Jostens, who is our partner with you know, our graduation diplomas and things like that, but they also bring, you know, this part, you know, the school spirit part. And so we partnered with them, and they, I had a committee of people. Steve Shuey was one of them. He's our amazing art teacher who actually, with our current mural, which sadly also is fading, you know, he did that, I forget how many years ago, but it has been there for quite a while. So I made sure I included him on this committee for a bunch of reasons, that being one of them, but he is so good at what he does and so artistically, you know, inclined and can just see things. So he and with Jostens, we kind of worked together, and this is what we came out for the exterior. We have kind of a tiered approach. So, you know, we have this to show you tonight, and then we have something already in mind for next year that we want to do on, if you look at that picture, but you look to the right, which isn't there, but the top of the exterior of the building, you know, we want to have Northern Lehigh High School go down that whole way. That's a whole nother project, but we wanted to start here with the overhang. So what I just wanted to show you was that tonight, what that looks like. We went back and forth, you know, with cost, and they really tried to bring it down as much as they could. It would be a total cost of about $9,900 for that. That would come directly out of our building budget, which is what we've kind of been saving for and planning for. We started, you know, last year to do that. The installation, I can't see what that says. So that, yeah, $6,750 for the actual wall mural, and then the installation itself would be about $2,700. So, you know, upon your feedback and approval, we would like to go, you know, finalize the artist agreement and then begin scheduling installation and things like that. So we just wanted your support. We wanted to see what you thought of that. Again, the impact, the visual enhancement of the school environment, promoting a positive, inclusive culture, boosting student and staff morale, and just strengthening our community pride, which we're working really hard at.
So Dr. Bali, that quote
Yes.
is just for this.
Just for that, not for the front doors.
It doesn't include the side
Yep.
panels
Just
or
the
this
overhang.
over the door.
Yeah,
Or even the stuff that's on the doors. It's
Yep.
just this.
just the
I
overhang.
feel like I'm looking at one of those hidden pictures. How many bulldogs can you?
I know, right,
Is
right.
the only
Right.
So are you going to do the bottom half next year? Is that
So-
gonna- Are you gonna do it in stages? Is that-
We're gonna do it in stages, because doing everything, you know how I am, I'm like, we're gonna do it, but
Right.
it takes a
So
lot,
like
so.
this year, then. okay.
This year is probably gonna be the overhang, if, you know, if
Yes, 'cause that
you
needs to-
support that. And then next year, my recommendation, you know, our the kind of the planning committee would be that the wall up above the right side of the high school,
This?
like, yes, yes.
I'm gonna, this is what I thought we were gonna be talking about
Oh,
tonight.
okay, yeah.
I do not like this.
You
This
don't
looks
that
like
one?
graffiti. It looks like somebody
Yeah.
painted on our bricks.
Mm,
And
Yeah.
this, that I love.
Yeah,
This,
well, we can talk.
yeah,
we
that
can
could be
definitely
another
talk
time.
about
I'm just,
that,
but that's what I
for
thought we
sure.
were talking about this tonight. I didn't
Yeah.
see that. That I love.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, yes.
And then probably, now, if we did the overhang, you know, probably sometime in the spring, or even in the summer, we do want to do some things inside, you know, like when the floor is done in there, some things in the cafeteria. So there's less expensive things inside, but these are the big ticket things. And these are like the outdoor things. So it would be tiered. It would probably be the overhang, then that wall, And probably if we did the bulldogs up there, we probably wouldn't do exactly what you see down below. It was kind of like one or the other. It's a lot of bulldogs.
Yeah.
So it would probably be something a little bit different than what's there now. But that could be potentially year 3. Yeah.
So for now, you're asking for direction
For the
on the
overhang.
overhang,
Yep.
and you're confident that you have enough budgeted in this year's budget
Yep.
with all the other expenses you have to do for the remainder of the year
Yeah.
for installation of that.
Yes.
So this is an added cost?
No, this is within our
And
current.
then all those other years you're going to budget for too?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So you don't really need our approval for this, if you've already budgeted it?
We need the board's approval if we're,
She wants to spend the money. She has to.
Oh, okay.
plus it's changing the facade of the building, and that's a significant
Okay.
decision.
All right.
I don't like that, and that I like.
Can you remind me, I don't remember and I should know, is high school anywhere on our building? On that building, that it says that that's our high school?
It's on this wall
It's
here.
on that.
I can't remember.
Yeah, on the left.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
this wall extended out.
It's
And
just-
that's next to that bulldog you're talking about.
If we're
Yes,
putting
yes,
a really
yes.
big bold thing up there,
Yeah,
I like what you were saying, that it just,
yeah,
Yeah, the high school should be there somewhere.
You're in Lehigh
but
High School.
I love
yeah,
the construct of it.
yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm sad to see it not all done at one time, personally. But I get it, appreciate
Yeah,
the monetary thought to it, and
yeah. No, I
respect that,
appreciate,
so,
no, I appreciate that, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
So are you saying you'd like to see Northern Lehigh High School above Bulldog?
Does it say it on the high school over
Yeah,
there?
that's right.
Okay, it says it on the other wall,
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
by the flag.
by the flag to the
The wall
left.
to the
Yeah,
left.
on the gym.
I couldn't remember.
I go there every single day, multiple times, and I had to think.
Could you get an updated quote
Yeah,
and rendering, if possible,
yeah,
to extend this out to say Northern Lehigh High School,
for sure.
right here?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think I like that idea.
I can absolutely do that.
Then you might not need it
As long
along
as
the
I-
whole building.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
although I'm less concerned since it's on the building,
yeah.
but I could remember.
Yeah, because you really want people coming by, you want them to know which building is the high school.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point, yeah,
Bring it
Yeah.
back to us so we can see the two different options.
for sure. And they're fast, they'll get that to us fast, for sure.
Okay, so we'll bring it back
Yep.
in March.
Thank you for that.
Looks good though.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. I'm sorry, it looks like graffiti. Yeah, because I think it'd be too much.
Yeah.
The public safety.
Yep. Next on my agenda, I will wait for Dr. Link to finish typing.
Okay. I have received multiple requests as recently as this past weekend from parents of students who live in Walnutport that are concerned about the safety of their children walking from Walnutport to the main campus here. Of course, it's been amplified with the snow we received recently, and Mr. Wanamaker and myself have made several contacts to PennDOT and to the borough and asked them to please clean up the sidewalks. PennDOT did, within less than 24 hours, opened up a walkway on a bridge over the river. I've been in contact with the borough manager from Slatington and said especially the length of the sidewalk from like the River Plaza to Sal's Pizza needs to be opened up. And finally, it was not open this morning. I took a drive down at lunchtime and it was open the whole width of the sidewalk. There are still massive amounts of snow at the intersections and around the community. The parents are requesting that the district pay for a safe walking route evaluation. Because individuals can't request that directly to PennDOT. It has to come from the school district. We've talked about this earlier in the year about, we're getting more and more requests from that part of the school district. There was no desire by the school board at the time to allow those children to get on buses or allow those children, or to add, another suggestion that I brought forth was multiple crossing guards at different intersections throughout the stretch of Main Street from Slatington down into Walnutport. They are now requesting that we have one of these safe walking route studies completed, and there's a number of, I will pull it up here in a second, there's a number of things that have to go in place for one of those safe walking routes to be completed, which I will share with you, if I can just find my list quickly.
Do all students walk across high school, elementary, middle school?
No. It is children 7th grade through high school. Anyone that lives in Walnutport in those grades is a walker.
But not the elementary. Okay.
Not the elementary. I didn't
Not
think
all Walnutport, though, correct, Dr. Lane?
Correct.
It's only within a certain radius. So like the
Up to
far end,
Washington
right?
Street
The
or
very far end, there are some that are bust.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's
Within a 2 mile.
2 mile radius,
2 miles.
2 miles,
Any-
is that it?
2 miles from the
I
building.
think it's, you think
Yeah.
it's 2 miles? 2 miles, is that
2
right?
miles, yeah.
Yep. So,
I
back,
thought it was only 1 mile.
back in September, Mr. Wanamaker contacted the Lehigh County representative for PennDOT and inquired about, what needs to occur. And that representative said the district must have designated walking routes that students must follow. We do not designate walking routes for families that live really anywhere that their children walk to our schools. They will not conduct a review based solely on parent concerns. They will review routes if the school has applied for state funding for safe school projects such as curb repairs, traffic light installations, or stop sign requests. We have not done those type of requests or brought forth those type of projects. To conduct the study, the school district would need to hire an outside engineer to perform the study and present it to PennDOT for review. So we hire a third party, they conduct the study, and then submit their findings to PennDOT for review. It's a range of costs to pay those engineers to do that study. It can range from, this is what we found back in September, from a few $1,000s for simple projects to over $13,000 for complex studies involving multiple intersections. Key factors influencing the price include the project size, the complexity, data availability, and local regulations. So I've shared with these parents that, we have considered this early in their year. There was no direction to move forward with it. We're continuing to get these requests with significant concerns by the parents of the safety of the walkers from Walnutport to our main campus here. So I'm bringing it back in front of this committee to see if you would like the administration to move forward with having a third party conduct one of these studies.
Do you usually get these concerns from parents only when we have bad weather?
No.
No.
That was a big thing walking around when I was talking to people when I wanted to be a write-in. And 90% of the people that walk in Walnutport said their biggest concern is their kids walking to school. And when the dad that was here spoke, he was in tears in the parking lot because he worries about his kids walking. 7th graders are not 7th graders when we were kids. They are much more immature than we were in 7th grade. So if we're gonna spend $13,000, upwards of whatever, $8,500 to $13,000, shouldn't we also look at what it would cost to bus those kids, since we do Slatington kids?
We did that,
I think
didn't
we have those
We did do
numbers,
that, I
right?
believe. We did that, and crossing guard costs.
You know, to do the busing, and now we haven't run, we didn't put it in place, and we are doing that right now, where we're actually doing the routing as if we were to put all the kids from Slayton and Walnutport on buses, what it would take. My estimate, as well as both the terminal managers at Christ Transportation, who've been doing this for over 20 years, said you're looking at least 4 to 5 buses at $70,000 apiece. You know, and that's our guess, it could turn out to be more. It could, or it could, you know, be a bus less, but I feel safe in saying it's 4 to 5 buses.
So your total is how much? 5 buses at 75,000?
Yeah, that would be the high end of it, yeah.
Okay. Because I remember when we had these discussions earlier, 13,000 to do the survey doesn't sound like a lot, but to do the busing if we need it, to put it in the crossing guards, et cetera, you were looking at like $400,000 a year to do that for the kids. So, I mean, it's one thing to do the survey, I understand that, but then when you get the results, now are you gonna spend the $400,000 to do the work? And I guess that's where I had the concern, spending that much money to put those buses in.
And we did do all of that,
What's that?
and we have already done all that in the fall.
Done all of what, sir?
The busing, how many buses we need. How much the crossing guards would be. I mean, that was all things given to us, and we decided not to go that route.
Correct, but what Mr. Wanamaker's now saying is that they can actually designate routes to figure out what the
I
buses
understand
would
that,
be.
but my point was, we were looking at the cost.
So if we were to receive the evaluation, what are examples of that report? It would say, you don't have good walking, you have good walking, you should provide buses, like what would the outcome of that survey
It could
result be?
potentially, and we would have to do a lot more information gathering. What I'm looking for tonight is if you want administration to put their time into mapping this process out. It could go as far as designating dangerous walking routes, which means that we must then bus. If that is the recommendation of PennDOT based on the study. They could actually designate, we would have to designate the walking path. We would work with PennDOT to do that, but they could say right now, we have, you know, the way that they're coming, they could potentially say is designated a dangerous walking route. So and then in which case we would likely have to move the busing. We already have roads in the district that are considered by PennDOT dangerous walking routes, so we have to bus those children. It would be something like that.
And if I remember, the study does not include sidewalks. Like, they don't review sidewalks. They literally review the road, and they look for volume of cars on the road, speed limit on the road. They don't do the study on the sidewalks. It's just gonna really look to see if the way the lights and everything is set up, and some of the numbers I see, I mean, the one study said 175 cars in 15 minutes. We don't have that kind of traffic. I think a lot of the study will be, and that's not going to really change it, I don't think. But there's only one way to find out, I guess.
Have we had complaints before this year? I don't remember hearing as much ever.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
When I graduated 50 years ago, they were complaining.
No, but I'm just saying,
But, yeah,
on
it
the last,
hasn't-
you know, on the,
hasn't
being on the board for a long time, I haven't heard
Sure.
A lot have to
issues.
do with Walnut Street.
So we have had requests or complaint, I'm going to say frustration from parents that live just under 2 miles, but in Walnutport. Especially when we're looking at the winter months, whether it's because of weather, snow and ice, but also because, you know, sometimes it's still dark out until 10 after 7, and those students are walking, you know, 1.8 miles.
On the road.
There are stretches without sidewalks. They're walking on the shoulder of the road. I recommend that you do the study. As your superintendent, I'm recommending that you do the study so you can make an informed decision.
If we do the study and we get certain results back, can we turn around and ask the borough to make changes? Like if there's missing sidewalks?
We can ask.
Well, I know, but we'll give it legitimacy. I
Are you
mean,
gonna pay for my sidewalk if I have to put one in?
Well, that's it, there's a lot of, that's one of the main complaints, Tim, is that
Right.
there's no sidewalks.
Right.
And we can't force the borough to force the homeowners to put sidewalks in. There's nothing we can do. The only
But we
alternative
can
is,
take that study and make a
is the
recommendation
bus.
to the borough.
You know, and, well,
We also be
we've been asking to put clean water in too, and we spent more
Well,
on it already.
then what you're saying is the only option we would have would be to add busing. I mean, to me, going and asking the borough if we need to put sidewalks in would be another option.
Well, I know when I grew up, I grew up in King of Prussia, and the walking distance there was a mile, was not 2 miles. It was you had to live within a mile of the school to walk.
But it depends on
After-
traffic and other things too.
Can you confirm, Dr. Link, is there a requirement to us of what that distance is, or even, are we required to bus?
Districts do not have to bus, but if they don't bus, then they don't bus for anybody.
And when you say don't bus for anybody, meaning like even our elementary? Or just that school, like the middle school or high school, or,
Well, we currently do that.
correct,
Right.
but what I'm saying,
There's,
would it be all or nothing?
districts are not legally required to bus.
Allentown does not bus.
I do not recommend that you remove busting.
I'm not suggesting that, I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand what that
Um,
cost is, because that's allowing me to figure out
Right.
what the current cost is that we have in the budget, what we're now asking for, and what does that look like for how many times those buses are filled or not filled.
We're only talking middle and high school, correct? We're not talking elementary here.
Well, the elementary are already bused.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So we're just
Yeah.
talking
Yeah,
middle
K
and
through
high
6.
schools.
Again, there's a concern in the community about the safety of those pedestrians as they're coming in. I think for us to do our due diligence, we should minimally conduct a study and see what the recommendations are.
Are we then locked into doing something?
I can find out the legal answer to that.
Yeah, I'd like to know that answer before we go that route. Are we committed then to having to follow the recommendation?
I can find that out.
I don't know what else thinks, but I'd like to know that.
So for tonight, I'm looking for direction. Would you like administration to continue to put time into exploring what all is involved, what the projected cost would be, and what the district is obligated to do with the results?
Yes.
Yes.
It's very important that we think of the students.
The only thing I want to say is you're looking at $400,000, and come budget time, I want the same people who are saying, let's do this, to raise their hand and say, let's raise taxes, $400,000
Yep.
to pay for that. And that's where it's gonna hit the snag. You know, I've seen this before, I've seen people ask, I don't know anyone who's ever fallen in a canal. There's about a 12-foot high fence going across the Lehigh. I understand there's some concerns, but I'm telling you, this board will not approve $400,000 in busing come budget time unless we're cutting a lot of stuff out. And that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see us get rid of teachers, administrators, custodians, any of those people, and that's where we're going to have to go, or not fix up our buildings if we spend this kind of money on buses. And I mean, if the board's willing to commit to do it, if they say we do it, then let's do it. But I don't hear the board saying they're going to spend $400,000 when the time comes. That's my concern. I'm sorry, but.
No, well, that's why I want to find out if we're obligated, Matt, once we do
Well,
the study,
that's
or
why I
are we
like Donna's
obligated?
question, and I would like an answer to that before I could vote yes.
Right, that's what I'd like.
I think we at least owe it to the taxpayers to at least look at their concerns. Because as a board, when they asked before and it was crickets, the uproar was enormous of the people that wanted to have, why can we walk across the railroad tracks and why? And I can tell you right now from doing studies before, they're gonna deem it a dangerous route. It's just what it is. They have to cross two major bodies of water. They have to cross over railroad tracks, and there's a big chunk of their ways, especially going up. Is it Center Street, the main street? There's no sidewalk. So yeah, I think you at least owe them to do the study to validate their concerns.
But then what are you gonna, if there is a concern, what are you gonna do with it? Like, you wanna spend the $400,000 then? I mean, I know the concern's gonna be there, then our taxpayers are gonna come back to us and say, now you really should be supplying a bus because there's a problem here. I mean, you already sound like you know there's a problem, we know there's a problem.
Just the only ones that really know are the engineers and then PennDOT. There are certain list of criteria that will deem it is or it is not, and I don't think any of us at the table can definitively say yet. I would rather have experts do it if that's the will of the board.
I say find out what our obligations are
Yeah.
before we do the study.
Yes,
So we have
yes.
an informed board before we commit. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there's your direction.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Mann?
Thank you very much. Next on my agenda is the NRG contract renewal for next year. This past year, our contract was $6,807. For 2026, it goes up to $6,967, an increase of $160.
What is NRG?
So NRG is the company, they manage our software for our HVAC systems.
Okay, thank you.
So they're the companies, they were just out at Peters and upgraded the hardware to bring Peters up to the rest of the buildings in the software side. It's also our management program also. I can manipulate the HVAC system from my office. I can turn people's heat on or off. NRG is the company that manages that. They have the license to control that software. They also, along with this contract, that's any type of software updates, they come out and they'll do the updates under this contract. Any type of troubleshooting, most of it's over the phone that they'll do it. Sometimes they can come on site at a reduced rate along with this contract. They are also the company that came out and did our VFDs for the library. They're more of an HVAC company than just than the software side. They do a lot of more stuff than that. So, any other questions? So I'd like the board's approval to approve the contract for 2026 for Monday's agenda.
Any objections? Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, for the members that have been around for a while, it's now KPN fuel bid time. So I'm looking for the board's approval. Again, come February 24th is when I have to have my tallies put in. It always seems to wind up in the middle of a month. I can never get it. But for those that haven't been through this, we have 24 hours. Once KPN gets me the prices, Dr. Link, Mrs. Malatoris and I have 24 hours to say yes or no to those bids. So we normally put this language in so that we have that authorization from the board to do that. Any questions? It's the only way to do it.
Any objections?
Any objections?
Go for it.
Thank you very much. And that's it for buildings and grounds. I appreciate everyone's time.
I'm gonna turn it over to myself for finance.
It is what we're gonna do. Then we're gonna go to Nikki.
All right, I only have one thing to update everybody for the food services department, and that is, I think I mentioned before, I'm looking into menu boards just as a means to show what our, breakfast and lunch is. We don't really have anything substantial for the students to look at as they're coming through our lines, and also as a way of advertising as well. So just one company so far, I have a quote, and it would be 7 units. The middle school, just with the flow of how the students come through the lines, they would just need 1 unit, whereas the other 3 schools would need 2. So 7 units, 32-inch by 24 LED backlit menu boards, and 14 rechargeable batteries. So 14 because one will be in the unit while it's going, and the other one is the backup charging. for a grand total of $4,521.30. I'm hoping to find another company that will give a similar product and a little bit better of a price. So that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Dr. Stoker gave me a point of contact that is from Easton, a company called Fast Signs, and I did reach out to them earlier, or last week, and just haven't heard back and connected with them yet to get a second quote. So hopefully this time next month, when our March committee meetings are, I will have more information on that and go with the best price there for those. But that's really all that I have to update.
Would those come out of your budget?
Yeah. Yep.
Are these ones that you would handwrite on, or are they digital, like you can be on your computer and say, put this to the high school, this to the middle school?
It would be right on one so that they can cut. So I was thinking of the digital route initially, but so I have like my main menu that all the schools have to follow, but then there's customized items that they throw out at all the different schools. So it would be hard to like constantly update all 4 schools with, without asking my staff. It would be a lot of clerical work to keep up with the digital, whereas like they could quick handwrite in. So it's basically a backlit sign, and then with special markers, they write in the different sections of these signs. They're like geared towards K-12 because we have to offer 5 meal components, so it'll have like your proteins, and then they'll write in all the protein options of the day, the veggies of the day. And since every school, they all have like what I post online, but they have, if they had extra peaches from yesterday and they want to also add that to that school's menu for that day, it just makes it easier to customize when it's a handwritten thing versus having somebody digitally go on and customize. So that's kind of why I was gearing towards, that route instead of.
Can you maybe show us an example next
Yeah,
month?
yeah, definitely. Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Nikki? Could do some more exploring and we'll look for next month.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Sherry.
Okay. On the board agenda for Monday evening, I'd like to put the transfer on to transfer $3 million from the general fund balance into the capital reserve to start preparing for these upcoming projects that we want to do between, which was actually, some of them were approved at last month's board agenda. It was the track and the field and the sign, and so we want to move that money over into capital reserve to start earmarking that for our capital projects and things that we're going to be doing over the next year. Is everybody in agreement that we throw that board motion on there?
Any concerns? No? Go for it.
All right, and the last thing I have is I did do a board update probably about 2 weeks ago about the recalculation for the cyber charter schools. So I looked at how many students we currently have enrolled in cyber charter schools, whether they're regular ed or special ed, and I said if the formula hadn't changed, how much would we have paid for the entire year? Now that the formula changed, how much will we be paying? Roughly, it's around $330,000 is the savings. But I'm gonna say probably conservatively, it's probably closer to 300,000 because kids are gonna ebb and flow in there. They're gonna come out, they're gonna go back in, and I'm gonna have a special ed kid move to a regular ed student move to special ed, and that's just gonna fluctuate those costs. So, having said that though, I am leaning towards keeping that $300,000 still in the budget for the mere fact that we never know what's going to happen with our cyber charter schools. There are kids that move in and out of that all the time. The last thing we want to do is get caught in a pinch where we've taken all that $300,000 out of there and I have 8 kids all of a sudden special ed enroll in a cyber charter school. So with the understanding that it's better just to keep it in there since the expense already there, knowing that it's only going to be spent for that purpose, and that at the end of the year, if we don't spend it, it's just money that goes back into our fund balance. And that's all I have this evening.
Then
How is the audit, how does the audit going? Is that
Oh, I'm
completed?
sorry, I can tell you about that. So, the audit is done. I reached out to them again this week and said, can I have my financial statement? He said he will have it by Monday evening for the board agenda. So it won't be on there for approval, but the books will be distributed by Monday evening for you all to review, and then it'll be on in March for approval. Okay? Thank you, Matt.
Is there any thoughts of having them come to a meeting and go over their
Oh.
audit? Is anybody interested in that or not? Or I don't know. Don't worry about it, forget it.
I think if there were concerns or issues, but I believe the
They've
fact-
been clean for.
They've been
so
clean
many-
for forever, and they've actually tried to find something wrong, so they can put it
Well,
on.
that's what I want to ask them. Why aren't you finding anything?
The report. So
Yeah, the more I think about it, doesn't make it.
yeah, I just, but no, I appreciate all
Thank
that
you.
you do, that it works like that. I will then adjourn the finance committee and turn it over to Mr. Fedorcha for the education committee.
I will open up the education committee and I will turn it over to Dr. Stoker. Or, for the, do you want me to go right to Mr. Snyderite?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to go right to Mr. Snyderite?
I'm just trying to get the connection. Then I'll be good to go.
I'm ready whenever someone passes it on.
Right, sure.
When it's up on the screen, you can start.
I will wait patiently. Well, I can start talking, Dr. Stoker, while you're getting the technology set up. Is that okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. So I'm here this evening to share with you an event. It's going to be the first time, at least in my tenure as the Peters Elementary School principal, that we're doing something a little bit more dedicated towards literacy. Every year we hold literacy events. We do things like our Barnes & Noble book fair evening. We hold book fairs through our library at the school. I have a new event that we've been planning since the beginning of last year that it's going to be happening in about a month. So we're calling it the Literacy Night. It's at Peters Elementary School. If you'd like to book the date, it's in just about a month, Thursday, March 5th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And I'd like to tell you more about it. Next page, please, Dr. Stoker. So this is going to be, again, the first time we're holding this Literacy Night event. The theme will be Dr. Seuss. It corresponds with our Read Across America Week, which every year we do a great celebration at both elementary schools to support young students picking up books and reading. The evening consists of the following. Students will be engaged in literacy stations throughout our gym. We'll have 8 literacy stations set up through the gym. They're going to be doing games and activities focused on early reading strategies. There's going to be a short, fun, hands-on activity at each station. And the students, and the big bonus of this entire event is that all of the events and activities, the students are actually going to take supplies home with them so that they can do these not just with our teachers there, but also bring them home so they can do them at home with their families. So again, the event is for both students and families. It's a true community event. Each station will have educators running the activities and games. Right now we have between 1 and 2 teachers at every single station that are volunteering their time. The Peters students that attend will bring those activities home with them and also get a prize when they complete all of the activities. They'll get to take a book of their choice home. And throughout the night, we're also looking to offer for families free food, beverages, and snacks for all attendees in hopes that they can make it a true evening. We're going to come out, have a bite to eat, do some fun activities at our school with the intention of learning. Okay. Next slide, please, Dr. Stoker. So again, the true purpose and the premise of the event is to provide families with both tools and strategies to support literacy initiatives at home. Many times when we're having conversations with families, they'll say things like, I would love to help my child more, I just don't know what to do, right? So the idea that our teachers can then teach them what they do within the class and give them the activities to do that when they go home was really the purpose behind all of this.
Next slide. I'm assuming you're keeping up. Thank you, Dr. Stoker. I wanted to highlight a couple of awesome partners. We're still, we're not done with the planning, but we're pretty well along the way. First of all, we've got a number of partners that we're working with. The Slatington Public Library, I've reached out. I believe, yep. So very, very. Thank you very much. I've been talking with Mr. Fedorcha. I've been talking with your wife quite a bit recently. They're going to be hosting 2 things at the event. I offered a table for them, figuring that this is a great opportunity for our youngest students to be able to sign up for a library card, so that they can come, do some activities, and then leave with a Slatington Public Library card, and then if they want more books, they can go there for free. They've also volunteered, and we told them about this event, and they were like, what else can we do? So they offered to have a storytelling station set up as well. We've got some great ideas for how that can work within our event. So before the event happens, thank you to the Slatington Public Library. It's going to be awesome. Our Northern Lehigh High School, I've reached out to a number of organizations, and they're going to be doing some volunteering, both setting up as well as part of the event. I know that some of our Northern Lehigh High School students might want to be teachers one day, so we actually have the opportunity, if anybody wants to be a teacher, and actually partner with our teachers while they're working with the kids. This will be a great experience for them, and maybe give them an opportunity to do a little teaching as well at the high school level. Every time I ask the PTO for some help or have an idea, they're always like, sure, what do you want? So they're going to be volunteering that evening. They're putting together a popcorn station for some of the snacks. They're going to be running that and supporting and supplying a lot of the funds to have that occur. And a number of community volunteers. I'm hoping at the March board meeting, I can ask as a part of Dr. Link's presentation to highlight the individuals and or organizations locally that have basically donated food, donated supplies, things of that nature. So, we've already got a number of great donations. We're looking at having like hot dog stations and, just snacks and drinks so that everybody is, again, well fed on top of the awesome literacy things we'll be doing. And next page, please, Dr. Stoker. My next steps after this board presentation, I'm looking, of course, to get any feedback or comments you may have. I'm ready tomorrow to send out an official communication to all of our Peters Elementary School families through our community outreach message. Part of that is also a form to gauge interest. One of the ideas that came up at one of our recent meetings, what if 275 families show up at 5:30 p.m. for 8 stations? Whoa, okay. So, knowing that ahead of time is going to help us plan. We already have plans in place and sort of thoughts about how that can work. Part of that is also saying not everybody has to show up at 5:30. We're here at 6, we're here at 6:30. But, just trying to get a gauge on the interest and when people might show up. I'm looking to host an open discussion at our next family engagement meeting, at our elementary school family engagement meeting later this month. And my ideas between now and then, of course, is to finalize those details with our internal groups, make sure all the volunteers and helpers are there, finalize food and whatnot. Our team is working very strong and very well behind the scenes to prepare this. And on the final slide, special kudos. This is our first time event. There are, I believe between 15 and 20 Peters staff, as of right now, that are volunteering their time in the evening for this event. A big specific kudos, Mrs. Amanda Bayshore, Miss Josie Pfluger, and Mrs. Kara Richardson, my 3 reading specialists. We began the work of talking about this at the end of last school year. We've been communicating throughout this school year. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that these wonderful ladies have put their heart and soul into this event, and I'm very much looking forward to bringing this to the Northern Lehigh community. So my final slide is just basically, I wanted to share with you the premise of this. You, of course, are welcome to attend. It's free for everybody. You're welcome to a hot dog and some goldfish crackers, and to participate in our literacy events. I'm not sure if you have any questions, anything that I wasn't able to give you directly that you might want to ask. Any feedback, ideas? Let's talk about it.
I missed the times. What will it start?
Sure, it's 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., Mr. Weber.
Thank you.
It's March 5th. If you want to go back to the first slide there, Dr. Stoker, it's got all the specific details. Yeah, thanks. I could have put that as the last slide as well. Great. Any questions or feedback?
I will just mention the library is celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday, February 28th.
All right.
So they're having readings and little gift bags for younger students.
Awesome. Awesome. I bet you I know a few teachers that might be on bad reading, so.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
I'm sure I do as well, so.
And while we're talking about the library, I got a letter from the library signed by Secretary Joyce Thompson. But anyway, talks about the things that they do and what they've done and their budget, et cetera. And I'm going to ask Dr. Link if you would, it was addressed to me to make copies maybe and have them available at the next meeting.
If you want to, I can get an electronic copy and we can put it up on the,
That'd be great.
rather than print more, use more paper.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I can share that out in the update, as well as I have it as a placeholder in my March, or actually Dr. Stoker's March, scratch that, February board agenda, as a correspondence from the community. We have their annual report, which I usually include as correspondence.
You want me to send you the electronic copy?
I can PDF it and turn it into I can do it here. I can turn it into an electronic one.
Okay, I can give you the original, rather than.
I have one.
Oh, you
Yep,
did
yep,
get
there
one.
was one that came from me
I
as well.
thought
For you
so.
as well. Thank you,
I
yes,
thought so.
thank you so much.
Sounds like it's gonna be cool, you know?
It does.
Great. So that's it for me. Thank you so much.
I lost the ability to project. I don't know what happened.
Because I stole it from you. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, you're.
She's next.
Yep,
I was
you're
like,
next.
how did that happen?
Nope, I'm gonna turn this off.
Surprise.
Back up.
Thank you. All right. So the next presentation on the evening agenda is not going to be as colorful and exciting as Mr. Schneider writes for Peters Elementary School, but just to review very quickly, comprehensive guidance, or 339 plan as it used to be called. Just to give you some highlights, I know that this was sent out ahead of time to the board, and also our administrative team has an electronic copy of it as well. But this has been in review and development since May of 2025. Following the comprehensive plan, this follows the year later. So our comprehensive guidance plan was up for renewal this year, and we'd be looking to submit that to PDE by March 31st of 2026. The Comprehensive Guidance Advisory Council is a group that comes together annually. They meet twice. They meet typically in the fall, which is around October, and then in the spring again, which is usually March or April, but this year we're meeting actually Friday, just because the timeliness of getting our 339 or Comprehensive Guidance Plan approved. That group includes students, parents, district and building administrators, school counselors, teachers, higher education reps, local businesses, community partners, and a board member. So I want to thank Mrs. Snyder as our board member for sitting on that group. She brings a lot to that committee, and I want to thank her for her time, that she dedicates there. Some of the highlights, and I will tell you this is a moving target. There are different cycles that Pennsylvania Department of Education has with regard to comprehensive planning and also the 339 plan. So when they make updates or when they have new requirements, that happens as people are redoing their plans. That happened as we were redoing our plans. So we were in the middle of revising this, and then they kind of changed what they wanted to have in there. So know that we are going to post this, we are going to ask for feedback, but it may change before it actually comes to the board for a vote. Some highlights include that we revised the mission statement, so our school counseling mission was updated to better align with the district's motto. We expanded student opportunities and documented those as to what's happening in the building. For instance, KinderQuest at Peters, the Bounce Back program at Peters and Slatington, Mars being at the middle school, career pathways at the high school. We've included all of that information in here as well. Career alignment, there were 14 national career clusters now that didn't exist previously, so that's one of the things as we were documenting what's in our plan. They're like, hey, there's 14 career clusters now, and so we had to realign everything to those career clusters. We also are looking for some data-driven enhancements, some follow-up studies with regard to recent graduates, to strengthen the academic, career, and social emotional learning supports, to get feedback from students who left Northern Lehigh upon graduation and what they've been doing and how we can better support students while they're here in our K-12 system. So those are just some of the highlights. Our timeline is we're obviously presenting this tonight to the Education Committee. The Advisory Council is going to meet on Friday. We'll post this publicly this week as well for any community feedback. It'll come to the school board meeting for approval in March, and we'll submit it to PDE March 31st. This plan will cover July 1st of 2026 through June 30th of 2029. I really want to thank our school counselors, Mrs. Crucial, Mrs. Hoffert, Mrs. Deal. We have Mrs. Mengel and Ms. Ledestri, and then also our two assistant principals that are here, Mrs. Delgado and Mr. Krajcik, and also Mr. Williams, who was, at the beginning of this, one of our assistant principals. They've really been the core of this development of this plan, and along that process, we've been meeting almost monthly to update the pieces of this plan. So all of the work that they put in behind the scenes before it is released to our advisory council. So I want to thank all of them, and as well as our building principals and other administrators too, as they provide feedback for this plan. So again, it was pushed out earlier to the board. I'm just at this point going to ask if there's any questions, if anyone needs any clarification on anything that's in the plan.
Looks good.
Just thanks for being flexible and adjusting.
Sure.
Kind of didn't have a choice, right?
We get used to that with PDE. All right, not hearing anything, then we will, again, bring it to committee, our advisory council Friday. We'll post it publicly, see if there's any feedback, and then this will be represented just as a board agenda item in March for approval, and then submitted to PDE hopefully by March 31st. All right, thank you very much. Now you can commandeer the computer.
Any questions? Dr. Turner? Seeing none, Dr. Lynch, you're on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fedorcha. I'd like to share this evening the draft of the calendar for the 26-27 school year. You'll see that the formatting is the same that we do every year. I do want to call out a number of important nuances to this particular calendar. So we still have 180 days for students, and we still have 190 days for teachers planned. Okay, but now knowing that through the use of virtual instructional days, that if we would have to go virtual due to weather or to an emergency building closing, that those days still count as an instructional day through the expanded guidance from the Department of Education. So we're on target to hit the days, but if for some anomaly we wouldn't hit the days, we would still hit the number of hours in each school building. So you're required to have at least 900 instructional hours at the elementary level and 990 hours at the secondary levels, our middle school and high school. So we have a nice buffer built in there for days. And then if we really had to, for some reason we couldn't meet the minimum number of hours, we still build in some actual snow makeup days if we were to need to do that. We haven't had to access those days in quite some time. One of the things I really want to call to your attention is because Labor Day falls later in September, September 7th, we didn't want to push back the start of the school year by a week and then extend into the middle of June at the end of the year. So we're planning to do these green days here, our new teacher induction days, so they would be August 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. All of our faculty would come back on the 18th, 19th, and 20th for in-service. The district would still be closed on the 21st, like we traditionally do that Friday. The first student day would be August 24th. That would then run, typically the pattern has been falling when Labor Day is earlier in September. It would be 4 days, then a 3-day weekend, then 4 days, and then our first 5-day week. Because of Labor Day being September 7th, this calendar is reflective of the first week of school being 5 days, so a full week, and then we would have a 4-day week, the long weekend, a 4-day week, and then we would pick back up with 5-day weeks. We're doing that again, so otherwise we would be going to June 16th at the end of the year in the summer. This calendar still includes 3 planned virtual instructional days. This year, this week actually, we're having one on Friday. That's when the children are home for asynchronous instruction, and the faculty and staff and administration are in doing data analysis and professional development. So we will be having one of those actually this Friday. There's still 3 built in this year. Additionally, I would like to point out to the school board that for the 3rd year in a row, we're recommending that we have a true winter break, and it would be 2 full weeks from December 21st through, help me out here, through January 1st. The start of the school year and that winter break, we are aligning throughout the county. So all superintendents are taking this to their school boards. And part of the logic behind that is because so we can align our student hours at LCTI. So the students that attend LCTI, we have a common calendar at LCTI as well. We've had a lot of success with that over the past few years. Let's see who that is. So we also have here, you'll see that we're building in early dismissals again this upcoming year for parent-teacher conferences at the middle school. We're bringing back the parent-teacher conferences at the middle school as well. We did that this year, and we had success with that. So you'll see that all the early dismissals are listed down here on the bottom of the calendar as well, and our start and end times for the school days also remain the same. So again, the things that are unique to this calendar is we're starting with a 5-day week, and then a 4-day week, and then a 4-day week, and then we pick up with rolling into the 5-day weeks. We're also proposing in November, and we've done this through kind of just reflecting on the calendar as a group of administrators, and also in conversation with the association, the Teachers Association. November 25th would not be an instructional day. That would be an in-service day for the faculty. So that day right before Thanksgiving would actually be an in-service day again for the faculty. We used to do that years ago. We'd like to bring that back. We would still have 3 flex days built in. You can see in that orangish brown box here, where teachers, if they earn their professional development hours ahead of time, are allowed to flex out on the day of the actual professional development. We've had success with that as well. So I'm opening it up here. Administration is recommending that this calendar be supported by the committee, the education committee, to take to the February 9th board meeting for consideration by the full board and approval.
How many in-service days do you have in there?
Each blue day is an in-service day.
I'm counting 1, 2,
4.
Well, we have all these here. Yeah.
Oh, there they are,
Yeah.
okay. I missed this top.
Any other questions?
So the last day of school is the 8th.
The last student day,
Student day.
assuming that we don't have to add days at the end of the year for unplanned closings or weather, which is the way we're allowed to schedule now, it's very unlikely, would be the 8th, which means that graduation, if all works out well, that next year would most likely be on June 4th. Last teacher day would be June 9th.
Any other questions? If no other questions, I would direct Dr. Lane to put it on the agenda for Monday night.
Okay, and if you think of any questions, I'm happy to answer them Monday evening as well. Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha, and
That ends the education committee, and I will turn it over to Mr. Thompson for the curriculum.
Oh, here we are.
You want it? Yep. Give us 1 second here while we swap out technology again. If you could pass that down to Mr. Pine, please. Oh, you have one. Okay, sorry. Thank you, sir.
And I will turn it over to Mr. Pine.
Thank
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. So I'm going to give a quick overview of the agenda. I know I sent it out with some detail in the updates. That way everyone had plenty of opportunity to take a look at the program of studies and the changes cover sheets. So before passing it off to Dr. Bali to give a brief overview, so the initial link in there is the full updated program of studies for the 2026-27 school year for the high school. The changes cover sheet really does kind of guide you through all of the substantive changes in there. You'll see at the top of the cover sheet, I'll pull that up. There's a sort of general statement that spacing, any edits or revisions, change of year, grammatical fixes, things like that. We're not necessarily highlighting all of those, but then also with the page numbers, any of those changes. Many of these, at least in terms of the overall sort of, framework for it, we talked about last month at the Education Committee meeting, but this obviously provides you with all the nuts and bolts in terms of the details that are in there. Related to that, there are 3 courses that are on here with new course forms to be approved. There would be more with the approval of this program of studies and the addition of a business teacher at a later date if that's to occur. They're just not written out right now because they would occur pending that change within there. And then the last thing that's in there is we do have a student survey, which I know Dr. Bali will talk more about. And I just put together a quick executive report on that, like top level. These are the career pathways that students are interested in pursuing. And these are the top rated courses by pathway by those students. So that survey essentially asks them to select the pathway that their current plans are most aligned with, and then identify and rate, it was actually on a 5-star scale, the likelihood of them being interested in taking each of the courses that are currently aligned in that pathway. And so that's what you see up there. And I pointed out in the update, and I would point out here, I think as we thought would be the case, just because of the prevalence within society right now, that entrepreneurship and business is our second highest ranked pathway. So that's the overview. Dr. Bali, I don't know if there's anything in particular that you want to point out, and then obviously we love to spend most of the time in conversation or with any questions
or any feedback. Sure. Yeah, and you showed the cover sheet, so we can talk about that too.
Yep.
But so as Mr. Pine said, we did issue an interest survey to them, and as I spoke about earlier, we've been doing a lot of talking to the kids, what are you interested in as far as courses and things like that. So why does this matter? Well, we believe students should take ownership of their own story, grow into independent lifelong learners. And this really helped us to understand better how we can best prepare them in the courses that we provide. So the big picture. So students have clear but varied interests about life after high school. As we talked about last month, no single pathway fits every student. One pathway did seem to be very popular, but every pathway showed real student demand. So what did our students tell us? So health science, so we have 7 career pathways. Health science was about 30% of our student population chose that area. That was the largest area of student interest. Students are drawn to medicine, nursing, psychology, and animal-related fields. Business and technology, 18%, entrepreneurship and business, multimedia technology, career, and technical education, which, as Mr. Pine said, we are not surprised by how, and what is interesting about that is it is right in line with what the national average for kids interested, I think we talked about that, Mr. Weber, with kids interested in business related fields. So, as you know, at the time last year, our business teaching position was reallocated for this year. So we worked really hard to solidify a pretty dynamic business pathway for our students, and we'll talk about that, and you can see it more, I think it's pages 38 through 41 for a list of those courses, and I would just like to pause there a minute. So the addition of those business classes would be integrated technology, which is a new course, computer applications, which would be a new prerequisite course, financial literacy, intro to business, intro to entrepreneurship, business law, and sports and entertainment management. So, and as Mr. Pine said, those course descriptions and all of that would be forthcoming for sure. So something that's really neat though, all 7 pathways have shown student interest. Differences reflect preference, not value. So what does it mean for our high school and ultimately for the district? Our kids are actively thinking about their futures, even at younger and younger grades. Supporting multiple pathways helps our kids take ownership of their learning, builds independence, and sees our school as connected to their real life. And it aligns directly, quite honestly, with our district commitment to meeting kids where they are, challenging each one to grow, and supporting each student's individual story. So, just overall, our data shows that Northern Lehigh students are not all headed in the same direction, which is a strength, but a balanced approach to our career pathways supports independent engagement and lifelong learning for our kids. So we're super excited about this revised program of studies. I think what is the best part of it all is when our counselors meet with the kids individually at a young, as soon as they get there, and we start talking about this with them and how excited they are to see the different course offerings that we have for them. So, as educators, we know engagement equals learning. So if they love and they're connected to what they're learning, they're going to be super successful, and we believe that. So thank you for that. But that overview is kind of just an overview of our whole program of studies. I don't know if there's any specific questions about the changes or the cover sheet. And this is
So we talked before about the math and how, there's not a lot of math other than the higher level. Has there been any consideration to doing something, a different kind of math course to put in for the students?
So we've had that conversation, in part actually expressly directed towards the replacement of our tech ed position, because right now we're looking at the potential of that not looking like it looks now, like it's looked with the previous teacher who's taught it, and that tech ed provides us a real opportunity to create very practical math incorporated in there. Whether or not that gets crossed across as a math credit per se, that would depend on certifications. We'd have to sort of work through that depending on how that person's certified. But that's an area where we've really seen the opportunity to focus on very practical math, that students are doing math that is related to everyday life.
Okay, because I just think that's important. We talked about that, at the meetings.
Yeah.
So I was just curious if you had that plan.
And long term, and I think I mentioned this last month, I think that with some of the changes that we're making, we may actually have availability within teacher schedules to start creating those types of opportunities as well. Right now, within our current math staff, we do not really have the space for that because everything's required for every student, because so much is required for every student. One example that we wanted to do for years is coding. Coding is, my brother's a teacher at Northampton, and coding's taught, he's a math teacher, it's taught through the math department. We just haven't had the availability to even build that out right now. So there are other things that I think we'd like to do. I think right now we have to see how this plays out in terms of the way that we've adjusted the offerings, the requirements, and sort of how students load into those. We expect the vast majority of students to continue to take 4 years of math, right? The vast majority of students, that will be the case. But if there's the availability to create something that's alternative as well, I mean, we'd like to be able to see that happen. Yeah.
I know we were focused on the higher level classes, and just wanted to make sure that was still in the forefront. Okay, thank you.
Where does this report go? What happens with it?
With the program studies.
With the program studies.
So the program studies would come hopefully next week. It would come back to a board meeting for approval by the school board for us to enact this as the program of studies for the 2026-27 school year. And I can go back into anything. I mean, if there are any questions or want to look at anything more closely.
the coding, would that fit under the multimedia technology and communications?
So that, I mean, honestly, there's flexibility there.
Yeah,
There's
math
flexibility
also
there
too,
in terms,
right.
yeah, in terms of how that gets started. Again, like a lot of that in Pennsylvania is tied to the certification of the
Right.
teacher who's teaching it. So the same thing's true right now. The financial literacy course that we're teaching right now, that's within the business department. That's within the business and technology education department. Moving forward, that could be a math credit. That's allowable by the state, but we're only allowed to assign, well, actually, that's an exception. The state made a weird exception there where we are allowed to assign a math credit even though the certification is not a math teacher. The vast majority of things like coding, the credit would have to be assigned under where the certification lies for the teacher.
I don't remember, do we ever ask anybody to go get a certification change?
For coding?
Yeah, well,
So-
I mean, not just for coding, but for anything.
So for the computer science credit, we did at one point because they were kind of grandfathering people in if
Right.
they
I know I
went and
went
took
and had to
on-
get something.
Yeah, if they went and took the extra courses, we did not have anybody that was of interest to add on
Okay.
that certification at that time. So now they would have to do like the full certification to get that add-on.
Yeah, and I don't know off the top of my head in terms of that one particular teacher, but I know we have a teacher who's taught coding in
Yes.
previous employment.
Okay.
So that, I mean, that lies there as an availability in the
I think
future.
that's really good that you're gonna add that, that's great.
One thing that I noticed is that while in the computer applications, you talk about Google Docs and Google Sheets, and that there's no mention of Microsoft. Now, I'm not a Microsoft proponent, but the students need to learn something about that, because I teach an intro to computer class, and a lot of them say, I've never even seen Word. And they're expected to do that in a lot of courses when they get to college, that they need to do it in a Word format as opposed to a Google Docs. Granted, you can do it in Google Docs and save it as Word, but still, it doesn't always work out. So I think that there should be some type of introduction, a unit at least, on Office.
Sure. So when you say that, are you talking about the integrated technology, like the requirement for everyone of the computer application? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see any difficulty. So that course right now is very much in response to demands from our teachers and our students
That they have
that
to write
within
papers.
like the high school, they're just struggling to even move on to using Excel in, let's say, a biology class, because the students just don't fundamentally know how to operate in Excel, right? Or
No.
well, actually, I'm saying Excel and I mean Sheets.
Sheets.
Right.
But they need to know the different some terminology.
Sure, yeah, and I will say the computer applications course, as we've run it in the past, and as I imagine it would run now, moving forward, right, which right now we have that scheduled to start with 27, 28. So that's after, again, the proposed return of another teacher in that department to be able to pick up the load of these courses and sort of flesh out the offerings in that department. But with the return of that course was in the past and would resume as a Microsoft applications course, that the students would be working exclusively in Microsoft at that point and transferring those. I see room in the integrated technology course to at least offer the on-ramp to that, right? To you know, in a discussion or in a series of lessons about Google Docs, to, you know, take a day or two and sort of, you know, go over some of the intro components of that, that they would then get with a lot more depth in the actual computer applications course if they were to take that. Yeah.
Can I just add, those are things that are being spoken about within the TCT time at the high school, within that, like, technology department. So those are the same kinds of conversations that the teachers are having as well,
Yeah,
to
well,
make
that's
sure that
good.
students have the skills that they need.
And the TCT is just a fancy word for department meetings. You know, like the departments, they all come together, they have this beautiful time to bring up those types of things, which they have.
Because most businesses are
Yeah.
still using Office as
Yeah.
opposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that completely makes sense.
Yeah.
And just say again, I mean, so those courses, integrated technology, computer applications, any of these other remaining highlighted courses those are all in here contingent upon us being able to staff them.
Do they do a business plan and intro to business? I did not see that.
So they have not yet done anything in intro to business because
It's
this is
not
a
yet.
new course. Yes. So all of these courses,
Will they be doing?
all of these course descriptions are a combination of discussions with the department, a little bit of AI, and a lot of research and plagiarism on how other school districts are currently framing these courses out. So you will notice even that some of the language is a little bit open at this point because pending approval and the likelihood of potentially having the staff member, we would then really flush out a full curriculum on these components and what would be included in there. I do imagine that a business plan would be part of an intro to business course.
When you were doing an intro to business course, business plan was part of it.
Sure.
I'm not saying a full extensive business plan.
And that person, that staff member would be an integral part of the creation of that, and what the expectations are.
At the middle school, when I taught the entrepreneurship class, we did do a business plan.
Yeah.
So-
That's
so-
awesome.
Yeah, the work at the middle school right now, honestly, has laid a lot of strong foundation for what, I would not doubt that it has improved that percentage, although we don't have a measure to compare it to for previous years, because the first time we've done this, the percentage of students who are interested in that as a career pathway, I think the work that's been done there has really laid a good foundation.
We're excited about it. Yeah.
But the percentages that you're finding here in the high school, in the survey, are very similar to what we find at the college level. Mostly health field, business, then technology.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'll point out here, not to make trouble for ourselves. I was actually surprised how low the percentage of students interested in STEM careers are right now. So that's a moment of reflection for us, I think, just to try and figure out why that might be and what we might be able to do to sort of encourage that, because that's a major pathway moving forward. At least on a global level. But
well, the multimedia and technology.
There's a little bit of
and
that could be it. It could be that there's a little bit of a bit of an overlap there. All right, I'll take it. But that did just catch me off guard. But no, I think honestly the percentage is really good. I think they really did. They validated what our needs are, and I think that this type of measure moving forward will be really helpful for the high school in general, like just in terms of planning. Are there any other questions about the high school program of studies? I guess any concerns with the addition of these 3 new courses are outside of any other decision that needs to be made. And again, in terms of staffing, we'd like to bring AP chemistry in. We think that we're really rebuilding a strong chemistry program right now at the high school, and the teacher in that position is interested in offering AP chemistry. We actually think that we have a strong student interest in that as well. And then our music program, which continues to grow and get stronger and stronger. Mr. Hedges at the high school would like to put in place intro to guitar and intro to piano. So if there are no concerns with that, here's what I'll throw in there just so that we can say yes or no to one thing, unless we want to split them up. The middle school curriculum guide has no major changes this year. And I know that you wanted to have a conversation with Thompson about formatting. I'd love to have that. But at the end of all that, my big question is, are we okay to move this forward to a board agenda item, 2 board agenda items in order to approve these program of studies and curriculum guide? And then, I'd love to open up the conversation just really quickly about formatting. To give you some background, Ms. Thompson, so for those of you who've been here a few years, obviously, this has been a labor of love year after year, getting these programs of studies, and you'll see the handbooks later on this year, looking consistent, very legible. And so each year we seem to find, I think, more room for improvement. So I know you wanted to share a little bit of some of your observations about that as well.
Oh, my big thing was when I looked at the curriculum guides or the program of study, that the formats were different. The idea was the same because it had the name and it had the number of credits and it had the course description, but one is up at the top and one is underneath. You can see there it says credit 0.5% or 0.5, and there it's down at the bottom, it shows 0.25. It's just not a consistent format. So if you want to go from one to the other, it's just suggested that you pick one and use that.
So I don't know, Dr. Balair or Mr. Williams, if you have any thoughts on that. I mean,
I think the middle school format is great.
Oh, is that because the previous person lined it up for it?
That is absolutely right.
I can tell you from my perspective, that is the easiest of changes
Yes,
to
it
make
is.
one way or the other.
Flip a
I
coin.
I think I like the credit underneath
Yeah, I like
underneath the course.
so right
Yeah,
directly into
yeah, I
that.
think,
that
yeah.
one, yeah.
So just, I mean, I can easily move
take-
these up.
yeah,
I can even
yeah.
take these course numbers directly,
Yeah.
put them over next to the course on the
Yeah.
side
Yeah,
there,
because the
same way
course
there at the
numbers
high
are at
school.
the after
Yeah.
instead of before, or, you know,
Yep, that'll
just the
be,
consistency.
that will be very easy to get taken care of by next Monday. So, yeah, for sure.
You get them.
So, I mean, does anyone have any objections, or are we okay to move those forward to the agenda? Okay. So the last thing I have on here, and again, I don't want to, sort of belabor it too much. I know some people have heard about this in this sort of form over and over and over again. And we're now just literally, I think, about a week before I would have been able to come to this meeting and say, I have a recommendation, just because we are in the final stages. We had some weather snafus that kind of threw us a little bit off in terms of visits to schools that we're going to visit for the two programs that we're looking at. And so the last one is actually this Wednesday, going to West Coastville Elementary for iReady over there in order to see that. Unfortunately, we're only going to be able to see that in grades K through 5, and we do have a 7th grade teacher who's currently involved in the pilot, and we are looking at that and looking to go out to that visit. But he is going to go out and look at it and try and learn as much as he can that way. And we're going to try and see if we can also set up a call with a middle-level teacher from Downingtown, which is the district we were supposed to visit before Snowmageddon made that impossible. And it's funny, Downingtown actually reached out to me over the weekend. They were like, do you want to cancel Thursday? I was like, why? I was like, well, this cleaned up by Thursday. And then we talked again on Tuesday, and there was no way that from where they were, there was no way that they were going to be able to accommodate us. And then they wouldn't be able to again until March. And obviously we're on a timeline. We want to, make a decision, and we want to move forward. And I think we have enough information that by the end of this week, I'll be in a good position to update the school board with some sense of where that direction is going to go. But just real quick, for those of you who haven't been around, I just kind of want to quickly go over the process. And I did share this out, so I don't want to go over the entire thing, but I just want to make sure that there are any questions about the process answered, sort of like I did last month by sort of preluding some of the stuff that we talked about in the handbooks, in the program studies, just so that next month when we go to talk about it, we can really talk about the programs. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get a couple of teachers to come out here and just kind of share a little bit of that experience. If not, I'll try and find another way to get that to you as well. But so last year, winter of 2025, we formed our selection committee, which was teachers across K through 8 at this point, because we were looking at up to K through 8 as a potential adoption window, with programs typically running either K through 8 or K through 5, 6 through 8, somewhere in that range. And what we did at that point is we really set out a structured evaluation process. So we looked at some selection tools, some selection criteria, and just some of our own local data and observations in order to decide what are we looking for in a new program, what will make this a good investment and an upgrade from what we're currently working with and fulfill the needs that are not being met by that. Then we went through vendor presentations in the spring of 2025. So when I say winter 2025, it was around this time that we originally set the selection committee. And then around April, we had vendor presentations where they came out and sort of in a, 1 hour and 15 minutes speed dating version, they gave their presentations to the teachers. I have found that this is in some ways, like the gladiatorial ring, not always entirely fair to the programs, because there are good programs who fall on this. They give a poor presentation, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, we know that teacher buy-in is essential. We know that them really being bought into the program is essential. So that is an essential gate for me, for a program to pass through. No program gets to that gate, though, without being vetted for standards alignment and then through ed reports for usability and alignment. And so from there, we narrowed our options, and the two options that really emerged K through 8, there was some interest at various levels, certainly at the higher levels for iReady. Thinking Math had a great deal of interest at our lowest grades, primary even up to through 4th and 5th grade. So we scaled pilots across those grades for both of them. For iReady, we scaled pilots from kindergarten up to 8th grade, and for Thinking Math, we scaled up to through 3rd grade in order to test those programs out. So we've been piloting those programs. The teachers are now, at this point, some of them are visiting on Wednesday, so I didn't ask them to fill it out, but they are evaluating these programs based on those criteria set last year. And so we're going to take that data and we're going to use that, which includes not only their pilot experiences, but also their experiences from our visitations, our conversations with other districts that are already implementing these programs and have been for multiple years right now. And they're going to evaluate those. That will probably carry a great deal of weight in the recommendation that we make. The teachers who step forward into these pilot programs are doing an amazing job. We've gotten really great professional development from both programs. If you remember, we paid for that. And I think that is paying off in the long run because I think we're in a much better place to make an informed decision than if we had not done them. And then we did school visitations. So we visited 2 schools right now for Thinking Math, formerly known as Novamat, and we're going to get all of our teachers in that need to from the pilots to see East Penn, West Coastville Elementary for iReady and gather insights from those who have already been using the programs. So the selection committee, like I said, this included a wide variety of teachers from across all grade levels, and most of those teachers ended up folding into being pilot teachers, the teachers who volunteered to be part of the selection committee. These were the priorities. I'm not going to necessarily go over all of these, but these came from research on best practices and strategies in math, as well as the direct concerns that came from our teachers. One of the things that came out that I think they've struggled with a lot with our current program, which, if you remember, we actually didn't purchase. It's actually an open ed resource. It's freely available. We actually haven't purchased an updated math curriculum since before my tenure here in the district. So we're going on, I think, 15 years. Was the idea that a program would actually support them as teachers rather than consistently being curriculum creators and having to create everything and recreate everything. The other things that really came up were about student engagement. We really wanted a program that changed the way that students experienced math and engaged with it. And I think we've found that in the programs that we've looked at. So in Novamat, just a quick summary of it. It is a research-based K-12 program designed to move beyond rote memorization of math. That's not to say that there's not fact fluency. That's not to say that there's not that type of practice that we can incorporate into students' instruction. But this program really focuses on them developing number sense, that they're able to figure out a variety of ways to solve math problems, especially in the early grades, through constructing. iReady is known for being a highly adaptive, diagnostic-driven approach. So students are very much sort of like a more formalized, robust version of IXL. Assessment results are used in addition to the core curriculum for the grade level in order to adjust in real time, in order to provide them practice relating to their skills. And I know some of the people on the administrative team have more experience with iReady than I do. I know Nicole, Nick, if you want to say anything about that as well. But it helps them bridge gaps and grow and provides teachers with data that's sort of actionable as they're working through it.
What happens when these students go into 9th grade?
Sure. So we can talk about that. So and we can talk in general this meeting and perhaps even more so the next meeting too, when we start really talking about how things are falling together. Ooh, not falling apart. In terms of the grade levels and where we think we want to place perhaps each of these programs, if there is a split at some point. But I think that 2 things. One, we want to keep in mind, I think even the conversation we had last month about the ELA program, and that we recognize 2 things are true, right? We want to get every student high quality instructional materials as soon as possible. But then 2, also that the gap between where they are at times and where those materials are becomes extraordinarily challenging to close. So I think that we're going to have a really thoughtful conversation about exactly that. So we don't currently have an adoption plan for a new program at the high school, but that's something we certainly need to be looking at. When we looked at K through 8, our first thinking was that's about as far up as we think that we can span something like this, like a mass adoption, and tolerate those pain points. And it's just because they are real. I mean, and our teachers who are even piloting at the upper grades are I was just looking over the survey results from a couple of them right now, are very cognizant of the fact that this program over those first couple of years, we're going to have to really figure out how to bridge those gaps, how to make sure that we're building in what the students need to know as prerequisite knowledge to be successful. So again, I think there's no matter what, we're going to have to make a decision on that, and I think that we're going to figure out where those pain points are going to be and how well we can tolerate those.
When you say bridging the gaps, are you saying if we did a split programs, are both the programs going to be spiraling so that there's nothing missed between the two? Is that what you're referring to? Or?
So both programs are standards aligned at the grade level.
Okay.
And that being the case, and again, like I think with the level of communication and collaboration across buildings right now, I think that we could negotiate a transition within 2 curriculum, right? I think what I'm talking about actually is more so the gap between what we're currently doing and what we would be doing by bringing in a new program.
Going into Algebra 1 in 9th grade, they have to have that.
Right.
Will this cover it?
Yeah, and both programs do have a spiraling nature. They are continually coming back and returning to skills and integrating skills across maths, right? So if we think of geometry, algebra, so they both do that. So that's good. I mean, that's good at closing that gap. That's helpful. But again, we've seen in our scores, right? If we look at our scores, we know that gap increases year after year, starting around typically 4th grade. And I know that we've had some variation on that, but typically around 4th grade, we start to see that gap widen, and that's what we're trying to break. We're trying to break that cycle. And so I think it's a really good question. I don't know that I have the answer right now about where we want to do that, and I think that's part of our conversation next month for sure.
Will the high school faculty or instructors be cognizant of of the K-8 courses so they know where everybody is?
Yes, so they are aware, and actually one of our high school teachers was involved and is part of the selection committee, just to be part of that conversation. Initially very much about Algebra 1, just because that's where we have a bridge between 8th grade and 9th grade with Algebra 1. But yes, so that's a conversation with Amplify CKLA we've been having with our actually both our ELA and social studies teachers at the high school, that what the students are going to be coming with is going to change the students that they're receiving. And I'd love to talk to anyone about that ad infinitum, but I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on it. But yeah, so no, it's a really good question. Yes, we will absolutely be keeping them in as part of that conversation and making sure that they know that the students that are coming up presumably with a stronger skill set than is currently the case.
Have you had the conversation with the teachers about if you did a split program, how they felt about?
Yeah, we've talked about it a couple of ways. We talked about it a lot at Curriculum Council. Okay. So Curriculum Council, where we have a number of teachers who are piloting, who are part of Curriculum Council, we've had a lot of conversations about it, conversations about splitting within the building level, which is that's a mixed bag. And it's as the former principal of Slatington Elementary, like I can attest to how challenging that is. So we have. I think there's an acknowledgement that we may have to, we have, and I think we will again this Friday. So this Friday, when we actually have all of the input from the teachers and all of the data from the 2 pilots, I think that we'll be in a position where we'll be having that very real conversation instead of talking about it hypothetically.
I know I've asked a lot of questions, but I'm going to ask one more.
Sure.
It's on finances, though. If you go with 2 different programs, is that going to raise our costs? Because a lot of times when we buy a package, the costs for the package are pretty good.
Yes.
You get all the years. If we go with 2 different programs, what's that gonna do to our costs?
There's no doubt that it will be more to go with 2 different programs than it would be with one. One of the perspective issues that I see is that I said at the beginning of this, and it's continued, I think that one of the programs at the primary and elementary level has a lot of support, and we've had a lot of reason to validate that support. That program does not go up through grades 7 and 8. And so, again, that is a conversation that we can have as we go forward. They will have 7 and 8, but it's just not currently created. They're currently building out a middle level program. They are currently K through 6.
That's a thinking math.
Correct. Yes. So I don't want to get again too far into all of that. I mean, I think that's why I'm saying this now is so that next month I think we're going to be having these discussions. I think that we're very much going to. And I'll make a recommendation, but then we'll certainly talk through all that.
But it wouldn't be better with the consistency of one to go with 1 through K8 rather than split them up.
I think that we can navigate a split.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that it's easier to not, but I think we can navigate a split.
Well, on your slideshow, it says the thinking math is K to 12.
Oh, wait, where's that?
Slide.
There.
No, it's not K to 12. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
okay.
think actually, I originally had that as the iReady slide, and then when I must have made some edits,
So
I
it's K to
apologize.
6,
It is
yeah.
K to 6. I
Okay.
apologize. So these are the evidence. This is the evidence collection. So we've checked both programs' standards coverage, pilot teacher rubrics, classroom observations, and then ultimately the council synthesis, which will be on Friday. And so these are the next steps. The next steps are over the next couple weeks, you will see a lot of information coming forward in board updates. You'll see formal quotes. I have some, and I mentioned in the last update, I'm still working on some of that. I'm still pushing back on some of that, but we would look at the education committee meeting in March in order to potentially get approval to move forward. And then if not, move forward and answer any questions the school board has between March and April to move that forward. Questions? Yeah, I got hit all along the way. No, I appreciate the questions. I really do. Okay, so there is no request with this at this time. There is no motion to move forward to the next board meeting. We'll have that conversation next month. Okay.
Now, we're not listed to have another committee meeting for curriculum until April.
So typically speaking, anything that doesn't get so because curriculum only occurs during those on the off months.
Oh, it goes to education.
We'll pull it over to the
Okay.
education committee and we'll address it there.
Okay. Anything else for curriculum?
Okay.
Okay, I will turn it over to community relations.
Okay, I will open up the Community Relations Committee meeting. Mr. Williams?
Well, actually, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Delgado. I'm learning quickly. What I will say is, when Ms. Delgado came in, I worked closely with her, got her a lot of information on the career fair, but she took it and ran with it, has already outdone me. And so, she's been putting in a lot of work and a lot of time. And I think she's going to be best to talk about what she's doing with the career fair.
Yeah, I appreciate the baton getting passed on, and like Mr. Williams said, he set me up for great success. So we've invited about 100 vendors right now, and so I'm excited to present the 5th annual Northern Lehigh Career College and Military Readiness Fair. And with that being said, we're just trying to build and expand. So we would love for you guys to come and visit and be part of it, talk to the students, talk to the vendors that are coming. But also, you guys are community members. If you have anybody that you are thinking of or in the back of your mind might be like, hey, that might be a good person, please reach out to me and I'd love to make contact with them. But this is a really exciting opportunity. It really focuses on grades 7 through 12. Part of our 339 plan, it's another artifact that we can go and make sure students are being exposed at an age appropriate opportunity for them. And so we look forward to, we have about a third who have responded with the first initial push out. The next kind of reminder and phone call that they're getting from me will come within the next 2 weeks. And then of course there are site visits that I have planned for those that I have not heard back from. So we're just looking to really expand this opportunity for students. We do offer the elementary students here at grades 3 through 6 to walk through as well. So we're trying to find some activities that are more hands-on and appropriate for them versus them walking through and talking to a college, representative, because that is so far. Although they're excited for, the T-shirts and the stickers that they get, but something that's a little bit more age appropriate for them. I'm really excited to be part of this, and it's a great way to learn the community. And again, if you have any suggestions, please reach out. So you are all invited. Please save the date. It will be Wednesday, April 1st, and it is 9 to 1.
What's your big finale?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I heard that I have to have a helicopter, maybe some water, firecrackers. I don't know.
You have to jump out of the
Yes. I'll get the bulldog out. That's right. So we look forward to it.
I just think it's something that's really awesome that the district has started to do. I don't know of anybody else that's doing this, do you?
Not to this level, certainly not a high school this size. There's other ones that do career fairs, but the turnout that we have for a high school that has, about 500 students in it is pretty remarkable.
It has a great reputation. I mean, I've had people reach out and they're like, you spoke to my coworker, we'd like to be part of it. So, I mean, it's definitely building some momentum.
That's great.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Work with skills USA at all with it?
Okay.
That might be something. Okay. All right, I will close the Meeting Relations Committee. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone.